With my husband away on a military trip again, the kids and I decided to do something fun. We decided to do our own version of takeout at home. After dropping my husband off at the airport, kids and I decided that we would spend a few days at a farmhouse in Virginia. The first night, everybody voted that we were going to do Chinese takeout at home, and our favorite is sesame chicken. My in-laws were also visiting, so I needed to make sure that my meal could feed 7 people. I have made this recipe many times before, and it is truly one of our favorite Chinese recipes. First, I start out by making the sauce. I combine all the ingredients together in a little pot, and we're talking about ketchup, brown rice, rice vinegar, we have sesame oil. The recipe also calls for oyster sauce and a little bit of water and a little bit of minced garlic. It is really easy, and all these ingredients you can find in any grocery store. Walmart carries it as well. I did get on a struggle bus with getting my garlic minced, but I did overcome and all was good at the end. But whenever all the ingredients are combined, you just mix it together and set it aside. By the way, this sauce smelled absolutely divine. I'm probably gonna get in a lot of trouble by showing you how I cook my rice, but it is honestly my favorite way, and I feel this is the only way that my rice does not get overcooked and mushy. I cook it the same way that I cook my pasta, and it has been honestly a game changer for me. I bring a pot of water to a boil, I dump my rice, I let it cook like you would pasta, then I rinse it with water, drain it, and voila, you have this fluffy, delicious, non-sticky rice. I set my rice to the side, and it's time to make my batter for chicken. In a bowl, I mix together eggs, I mix flour, baking powder, cornstarch, a little bit of water and oil, then mix everything together and add your chicken to the batter. In this particular day, I use chicken thighs. I cut them up, I trim all the fat, but in the past, I also used chicken breast. And either one, I feel like they all taste the same because the star of the show is the sauce. So it really doesn't matter what kind of meat you would like to use. You actually can use beef if you would prefer beef. I use my hands to mix everything together and just set this bowl with chicken aside. Now, what makes this recipe a little bit time consuming is that you have to double fry your chicken. Now, what makes this recipe great is a lot of the steps that I have just shown you, you can do the day before. This will save you a lot of time. You cook your chicken for about 3 to 5 minutes until light golden color. After the first fry, it's time to take the chicken back in for the second round. This double fry gives the pieces that deep golden color and extra crunch, just like the sesame chicken you'd get at a Chinese restaurant. As I was cooking my chicken, I looked at it and I thought, oh my word, that is a lot of chicken, which is a great problem to have because I had 7 people to feed. But then I realized that I probably will not have enough sauce. So I ended up doubling my sesame chicken sauce that you go on the chicken, and to make sure that all the chicken is covered. While my sauce was simmering on the stove, I added the thickening agent. My kids could not keep their hands away from the chicken, and they wanted to go ahead and dip in a sauce before it even had a chance to thicken up. Now, this is what I love about this particular recipe is that you can make adjustments. It starts out as more savory, not overly sweet sauce for the chicken, but my family prefers more thicker sauce and also a little bit on the sweeter end. So after following the original recipe, I ended up adding about 3 more tablespoons of brown sugar, and that's with me doubling the original recipe. And if you like for your sauce to be a little bit thicker, you can always add a little bit more of cornstarch and water mixed together. I would add like 1 tablespoon of water, about 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, mix it together, and then add it to the sauce and let it cook a little bit longer, and check and see if you like that consistency of your sauce thicker better. And let me tell you, my friend, I thought I cooked too much chicken, but we had no leftovers, not one piece. everybody went for seconds because this recipe is truly so delicious.
You know you nailed this dish when you hear kids talk among each other and they say, man, this tastes just like Chinese takeout. And honestly, I feel like it tastes so much better because it was made not only at home, but with lots and lots of love.
One evening activity that kids enjoyed on the farm is rescuing a turtle. We saw it trying to cross the road, so we stopped the car and helped the turtle out, but we couldn't decide which way the turtle was going, so we just put it down and hoped that it found its way. The next day, I decided to try a new recipe. The recipe is supposed to resemble KFC-style chicken, but instead of it being deep fried, it used very little oil and it's baked in the oven. So it caught my attention and I couldn't wait to see if it would taste just as good as it looked on the video. In one bowl, you mix flour and spices. And honestly, there was a few spices I didn't have, so I didn't stress too much about it. Then in that bowl, you add 2 tablespoons of buttermilk. This would create that crunchy, shaggy look that looks like a KFC deep fried chicken. In a separate bowl, you want to add 3 eggs and beat it very well together. Preheat your oven to 450. Place your cast iron pan inside your oven and let it preheat together. Once the oven reaches the temperature, you take your pan out, add half a cup of oil. I prefer avocado oil, but you can use any oil that you have on hand. Dip your chicken in the egg mixture and then dip it in a flour mixture. Make sure that it's coated really, really well. Place your chicken skin side down in a frying pan and then place your pan in the oven at 450 for about 15 to 20 minutes. Now, if you're gonna have fried chicken, you might as well make corn, mashed potatoes, and gravy to go with it. And that's exactly what I did. Now, after tasting this chicken, in case you're wondering what we thought of it, it was great. It was honestly good. It had a lot of flavor from all the seasoning. It felt good eating kinda a fried chicken, but it was baked. But did it taste like KFC? Not really. And I think what didn't make it taste like fried chicken is the texture of this chicken. The skin didn't quite taste as crispy and fried like you would have it at KFC. However, everybody loved this meal from kids to adults, and it's definitely something that I would like to add to our rotation and make it again. It rained on and off for a few days, so there are some farm chores that my father-in-law couldn't do. So he was so gracious to install my double oven. I'll tell you a story in a little bit why this double oven is special to me. But in the meantime, let me show you the hot mess express that we had going on in our kitchen. I want to be transparent with you guys and show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. For our last night on the farm, I decided to do a copycat recipe for Chipotle. I cut up chicken in small chunks. I added all the spices. I also added Chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. Then there was a little bit of oil, water, and a lot of squeezed lime juice. I covered the bowl and put the chicken back in the fridge to let it marinate for a few hours.
Let me pause it right here and just kind of share with you the story of how this double oven came to be. In 2018, I received a devastating phone call that my dad in Belarus suffered a stroke. At that point, I haven't seen my dad for about 17, 18 years, and for various reasons, very complex story, and I knew I did not want to live with the regret for the rest of my life of not getting to see my dad. As I was folding laundry, I began to plead with the Lord that he would make a way for me to go see my dad. And so as he placed on my heart to start bake a cookie, it was a walnut-shaped cookie, a Russian walnut-shaped cookie with dulce de leche inside, very unique cookie. And the Lord placed on my heart to share on social media. People start asking about it. I then started to sell my baked goods to try to raise money. People were so generous in giving, knowing the story. And I decided to start selling my baked goods at a farmer's market. The Lord blessed that tremendously. I would sell out every weekend, and in 2019, not only did I get to go to see my dad, my whole family, plus I was pregnant with that fourth one, got to go see my dad. So we traveled to Ukraine, which borders Belarus, and my mom was able to bring him to Ukraine because we didn't have to have visas to go to Ukraine, so it was easier for us to travel. My mom had just brought my dad. Let me tell you, it is the day that I will treasure for the rest of my life. So special just to see how faithful God was in knowing the desires of my heart and fulfilling it. So as I came back from Ukraine, people continue to ask about my baked goods. I continued to start selling it at the farmers market. Would sell out every weekend, and then my husband was stationed to Florida for a year. So we packed our stuff. At that point, my kitchen was inspected, and I started to sell my baked goods on Etsy. And little did I know that my cookie sampler from around the world would become a bestseller, and the Lord would just bless me tremendously in making my business prosper. So, long story short, at Christmas time, I would stay up until 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then go to bed, get up at 5, and do it again. And so, once my husband was, after Florida, was called to be stationed in Missouri, I told him I have to close my store because I cannot fill the orders. It's just one of me, and I can't do it all. He was working full time. He couldn't help me, and my kids were too little to help too. So I worked very hard, and the Lord blessed me tremendously to where I was able to buy a double oven with cash to be able to take more orders. Somebody reached out to me and asked if I could fulfill a corporate order. It was very large, like 100 boxes, very large financially, and we did not want to reject it because I physically couldn't do it. So we decided to buy a double oven, and that helped me to fill my orders. Now with that, since then I have took both of my cookie samplers off just because it was hard. It was just, I think I was just running thin of staying home, homeschooling, and being a mom, and then also trying to run this business. So I still bake, and if you have not subscribed, this is when you want to subscribe, because around Christmas time, I'm going to give you one of my cookie sampler recipes, and you do not want to miss it. I promise you that. And so anyway, so this double oven serves to me as a reminder of God's faithfulness and His provision in my life, and just a reminder that He heard my need. He heard that I wanted to see my dad. He provided, blessed me far above that one devastating phone call. I did not know what the future was holding, and He blessed me far beyond that I could have seen in that time. So anyways, wanted to share this story, a little bit about me, so we can get to know each other a little bit better. Now let's go back to cooking.
Now that we have removed my stove, I do not have a stove top to cook on. So you know what we're doing? We're improvising until I can afford to buy one. Is it convenient? No, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I had an electric cooker that I have used in the past to make my Russian walnut chip cookies, so I decided to put it to good use. While my chicken was cooking, I pulled out our leftover rice from the Chinese night, added a little bit salt, pepper, squeezed a little lime juice, because we're not going to waste in this house. I pulled out frozen corn, chopped a little bit of onions, jalapenos, squeezed more lime juice, and put it to simmer. My kids do not like peppers in any kind of form, so once my chicken has cooked, I decided to pull the peppers out. You do want to use them because they add a tremendous amount of flavor, but I know that my kids wouldn't enjoy eating them, so I just kind of pull them out and set them to the side. This recipe was so easy and quick to make. You can marinate the chicken the night before, you can make the rice the night before, so when you're ready to eat, really, you just pull everything out, warm it up, and cook the chicken, and your dinner's ready. My kids love this meal so much that they always guarantee to go back for seconds. I forgot to mention that my girls also made a cheese dip to go with this meal. I don't eat cheese, but everybody else in the family absolutely loved it. When I asked my kids what kind of takeout dessert they would like for me to make, everybody in one voice said strawberries and cream frappuccinos from Starbucks. I knew that this would be a very special treat for them because it's not a place where we visit very often because of the cost. So I wanted to make sure that I would nail this recipe. First, I made strawberry sauce, and all it is I use frozen strawberries, added a little bit of sugar, cooked it down where my strawberries were soft. Then I used the blender and blended until it became like a strawberry puree. I set it aside, then I made homemade whipped cream. And all it is heavy whipping cream and sugar beat until stiff peaks are formed. Next, it was time to make the actual drink, and clearly I thought it would be a great idea for me to do extra cleaning that day and knock my milk down not once, but twice. And this is, my friends, what a tired mama looks like. A mama that makes more messes than kids. After cleaning up my mess, I decided to give another shot at trying to make this drink. So I added 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of ice, 1 cup of frozen strawberries. Then you add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and that's for the creaminess. And then I added about 2 to 3 tablespoons of sugar because my strawberries were not very sweet. I just added the extra sweetness to the drink. Next, you blend everything together until the mixture is smooth. And there you go. That's all there's to it. You've got yourself a very inexpensive yet absolutely delicious Starbucks Copycat recipe of strawberries and cream frappuccino. I added strawberry syrup to the sides of the cup to make it pretty. And then I realized I clearly did not make enough mess for the day. So I made more mess. After cleaning my mess up, I was determined that I will complete and finish this mission of making this frappuccino. Once I finally poured my drink without spilling it, I topped it with homemade whipped cream, and y'all, this drink was phenomenal. But before heading back to North Carolina to finish out our week, before we had to pick my husband up, I needed to plant my blueberry bushes that I scored for 50% on sale at Lowe's. Right now is a great time to buy fruit plants and fruit trees. You can score them for great prices. A week of takeout at home has come to an end. It was tasty, budget friendly, and just might be the restaurant version. Come back next week as we open a new page in the diary with fresh recipes and stories.